Hello YouTube and welcome back to the GonzoEwok channel with me Gonzo for episode 6 of our RimWorld playthrough. Okay, let's get started. Quick recap, last episode, dug some bits and pieces out. It was fairly uneventful in the grand scheme of things, just a lot of digging, a lot of management of power cables and what have you. We've just started to plan out how we're going to mine down here. Actually, there's a point, probably been a bit overzealous. Don't need to worry about going that far just yet. Much rather people dig here and dig out around here. This is going to be a sort of hospital come research room. That's the plan at least. We've got the horseshoes pinned there. Taken all of the stuff out here. Moved people across here. Set up a stove. There's a point with the bills because it's a new stove. Cook simple meal. Cook until we have 12. We've got one meal left, so we definitely need somebody doing a little bit of cooking to get things tidied up. We've built the table, we've got a couple of chairs, so hopefully colonists will be able to come through here, and if they're cooking, they've got a quick door into the freezer, grab the materials they need, and that little short journey there is way better than somebody having to traipse across here to use the old stove and then walking their way back around and then in and then all the way back around. Here, just nice and rickety-tick, backwards and forwards, through into the freezer, onto there, get everything cooked up, and then we've got a table there as well. Room's not fantastically lit, but there's a bit of light in there. We can just clean the floor, get the vomit off, get all the little bits of rocks and scree off, get a couple of tables, a couple of chairs built even, so then people can sit and have a meal. That'll be quite a nice little space, really. What else might we want in there? The last episode we did have an issue with Joy, so we did chuck them the horseshoes. So people can use that pin to play horseshoes with and get a little bit of joy. Puddles needs somewhere to sleep because at the minute he's just off and about. We need cloth to make a nice comfy bed. We can make a little sleeping box for wood. Yeah, that'll be quite nice. Make a little wooden box. It has a bond with Lumi, does Puddles, so that can be in her room. We'll speed things up just while we're having a look here. That doesn't need to be the home area. That's where we're buried, the one-legged pirate who attacked me. Not worried about this really being classed as home either. Psychic drones ended. That was causing some major havoc for the female members of our colony in Gonzoville here. That's outside as well. So we've got the little wall. So yeah, things are starting to come together. Past couple of episodes have slowed down a little bit. We haven't really had much by way of any action. No animals gone mad. Haven't been attacked for a little while. So yeah, I mean, I'm not wishing that upon myself because there's always the potential when you attack that something can go horribly wrong. And the great thing and also the nerve-wracking thing about RimWorld is one thing goes wrong that could have major impacts on the rest of the colony. For instance, if the person who can do our cooking safely and reliably gets taken out, we're then stuck with somebody who can't, and then because they're cooking bad meals, people get food poisoning, the colony starts not working at its optimum capacity, and it can all fall apart from there. Crops could fail. Anything could happen really, but we're making very short work of this room here, so we'll just keep digging away. Now we did say about power, there is going to be a bit of an issue about where we run the cables for this, so standing lamp, yeah, definitely can't get a standing lamp down that far. So the question arises, where do we run the cables? What I think we'll have to do is, I know I said I didn't want the power cable coming across here because anytime there's a power cable exposed it always makes your rooms look terrible, but we might as well knock those down. These I want to replace probably longer term with actual, I don't really want wood here because that's a weak point. I mean, you've got a steel door but then a wooden wall. People will just knock down the wooden wall if they wanted to attack. So I'll build out the wooden wall to here, and then probably what I'm going to have to do is maybe get some limestone, and it'll look a little bit weird going from wood to stone, But, you know, I think there's a very good functional reason, and function has to take priority over aesthetic. You know, this is survival. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're not in the Hilton Hotel here. We're fighting for our lives. So what we'll do is we'll build a little bit of stone in there. Now, to do that, we're going to need to have like a crafting table, and we do need like a workshop area, which possibly could fit in over here, maybe a little bit further down. I'm tempted to leave this space for more bedrooms as we get more colonists, so I might turn this into kind of where sort of workspace area. We could even make one outside if needs be. Bit of space up here we could expand on, but really what I'm thinking is that probably expand this stockpile out a little bit if needs be, depending on how things go in terms of gathering resources. Right, we've got that sorted. And we've got compacted steel here. I do want to get rid of this, but again, we do need that workshop area up. I built the door in completely the wrong place for what I was looking for, because that was supposed to be so you could fit the little beds in there. I mean, we don't need that many beds. We could probably put quite a few in. You know, we've done it. We're just going to live with it for now, I suppose. Or are we? No, I can't live with that. So, structure. Correct the mistake there. Build a wall. People come in. You can have rows of 2 for beds, rows of 2 for beds. We've knocked all this down and it looks a bit weird. Let's build a wall there. And I suppose the other thing that we want to do is, as well, we want somebody to start cleaning the place up as well, getting rid of all this crap on the floor, because that will have an impact on colonist mood. I wish people would stop using this as a rat run. I mean, the way I've designed it's a little bit annoying. What I could do potentially is I could forbid this door, and it means people will go the long way around if they're not cooking. So I might start doing that, but while people are cooking at least, I know Lumi is busy trying to get our meal count up. Got 10 at the minute. But when we're not actively trying to cook meals, where we need people to just be able to hop through that door, I might just forbid it and say people have got to either come in here, and they've got to walk down the main corridor. Because as you can see, that door's opening so much that the temperature of this room is actually increasing. It's now up to 6 degrees. So stuff is refrigerated rather than frozen, because they're just constantly opening the door. You know what? Door's shut now. That should be the 12th meal cooked. Give this place a chance to cool down. This is still trying to cool everything down to -4. Yeah, you've got to come around. And now the only time people should be going in there is if they need to eat something, which is cool. I'm happy with that. Let that temperature drop down. Leave that door shut. I think that's a pretty good workaround there. Got a lot of steel. Fair bit of wood. Food's not really an issue anymore. We've got rice. We've got hundreds of frozen rice. It's refrigerated at the moment, but it will be frozen again. Got a little kind of prison cell. Might work on that and maybe drop some little wooden doors in. But I think before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we need to dedicate this as a medical facility. Because if somebody gets injured, we want to have something half decent for them to sleep on. So what we might do is chuck down a couple of beds. Chuck a door on here as well. All of that needs hauling at some point when they get around to it. But the thing is, the jobs will start building up, and then I'll start telling them to go off and do other stuff, and then that job will fall down the priority list. So those rocks might be here for quite some time. Cleaning, very low on the priority list. There's, oh, look at puddles. Consuming rat meat. There. Well, at least it's getting used for something. Everybody's asleep, so we'll speed up. Sleeping ostrich. Thinking about laying an egg. Yeah, things are ticking across fairly nicely here. Quite pleased with the way things are going. There is the danger, I mentioned it a few episodes ago, but there's the danger with us living in a rock, living underground, that we could have some sort of like insect hive emerge, you know, bugs under the ground. Emerging and attacking, and right now with the equipment we've got, they would probably kill we. They're very, very tough. That being said, this rock isn't huge, and I think the risk increases the deeper underground or the more into the rock you get. So if this was a huge mountain taking up half the map, we had a huge mountain out here, and we were living in the middle, there's a very high chance that's when we'd be attacked by insects. The way that things are standing, I don't think it's a massive issue. And while I was picking up my coffee, I've realised why we're not shifting these rocks. This is the dumping stockpile that we made, and it's absolutely full. So, don't know how long it's been like that, and sorry if you've noticed that and been going crazy about it. All of that is a dumping stockpile. You know what? Even more. In theory, it means if people are attacking me, this does give them some cover, but it also gives us cover if we need it. But you know what? Frankly, I'm not particularly bothered. We'll probably end up either walling around here, or we might just go across here when we come to actually build like a settlement wall. First of all, make sure it's only chunks of rock that are going in there, which it is. And then that means when people haven't got anything else to be getting on with, hopefully they'll start shifting those rocks up into this section here. Longer term, these will be quite handy. We are going to look at setting up that workshop. And if we can get people turning these lumps of rock into actual building bricks, we can make something like, this limestone wall here. We could dress that, we could take this steel out, and we could turn that into a limestone wall. Because, I mean, the difference is, if you look here, limestone wall has 540 hit points, wooden wall has 140, so we know what's going to last longer. Marble, 450. Steel, 350. Technically, the stone walls are better, but that's still better than having a wooden wall. No, wooden wall, 140 isn't ideal. So what we want to do is... Compacted steel is actually a very good outer wall, but... You know what, I do kind of want that steel at some point, so I think it makes sense. Even if we built the wall here, and then that means in safety we can hollow this stuff out as we need to. Might be a better way of playing it. So we've got those in. We did mention the idea of... a bit of a frog in my throat. Where is it? Where is it? Simple research bench. Simple research bench is what we need to start with. We will be able to get better research benches, which allow us to craft better stuff. Now, in terms of research, do we want the research bench to be in the medical facility, or do we want to make that workshop that I mentioned? Because, I mean, we could go like that. I think that's right, isn't it? 8 by 5. It's the same again. Like that. Well, regardless, we want to say that those are hospital beds. Probably want a lamp in there as well. So, power cables. Run that down there. That should be enough to get us a light. That'll be enough to get us started. Put one down there. Ah, there we go. People are starting to hold the rocks up here. Slowly but surely. Taking them away, which is good. In terms of resources, we're doing quite well. I'm curious to see if we can do anything with uranium. Physical properties make it excellent roles as tool, weapons and armour. I don't know, uranium armour, it sounds a little bit dodge, really. I know, like, depleted uranium, they use that in the army, tank shells and what have you. Okay, things are ticking along quite nice. We've got a second batch of rice coming in. 300 rice we've got so far. Cool. Things are going quite well. Keep things fairly well sped up. So yeah, I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll turn this into kind of like a workshop area, and then that's where we'll put the research bench, and then what we'll probably do is start looking at seeing if we can get the first of some research projects underway. do we need to research? Nope, we've got stone cutting, so we can start making stone blocks as soon as we need to. Devil strand's like an expensive, very slow, very temperamental crop that you can grow, and you can turn it into clothes and what have you. It's like kind of like a plant fibre, but it's very expensive. It's called Devil Strand because I think according to the law of the game, it's supposed to, wars are fought over this stuff. In terms of anything else that we might need, I do like the idea of getting our hands on smithing. Could do smithing if needs be. We'll have to at some point. So gun turrets are a fair old bit down. We might need to do something like the microelectrics basics and then go on to something like gun turrets. Because once we've got turrets, it'll make one much more defensible. At the moment, we're relying on somebody with a pistol and somebody on a rifle, which is fine when you're attacked by one guy with a peg leg. If you're attacked by 6 people wielding assault rifles, we're probably in trouble. So we've got an eclipse going on, so the next few days it's going to be dark. This is why I think it's useful to have that fuel generator. Because now, if we were just using solar panels, which I've done before in a game where I've started playing and thought, alright, yep, solar panels, get them down. Had 4 or 5 of them, which is great for generating power and actually storing it in batteries. But those batteries run out fairly quickly. Certainly, the stuff that we've got at the moment, there's a stove on, there's a few lamps. That's about it, really. But longer term, if you've got stuff like hydroponics going, or you're using sun lamps and trying to grow some crops indoors, you'll use a lot of power. Gun turrets, for instance, will use a lot of power. You've got a few of those down, and then you have an eclipse. All of a sudden, your fridge is off. That's using a lot of your electricity. Your gun turrets power down, and you're in serious trouble. So I'm thinking we need to get our hands on them. But I think looking at developing the capacity, I suppose, we've got for power, it'll be quite useful. That fuel generator is all fine and well. Maybe put down a wind turbine. We've got enough steel to do it. We can easily get our hands on some components, and actually we've got a fair few of them. So it might be a case of dropping down one of these turbines and then connecting that up, to the power grid that we've got. Might be quite useful. In terms of how we're going to do that, we're probably going to end up having to maybe set up maybe like a turbine or something up here and then run the cable down and through, which again is ugly as sin. But it might be the way that we've got to play it. Just out of interest, we wanted a wind turbine, 100 steel and 2 components. Large clear space in front and behind for optimum airflow. So you can see there, you would set it up like that. And even doing it like that, there's a couple of rocks there, just these ones here, which would interrupt its airflow and it wouldn't be as productive. How do I want to do this? I don't really want loads of wind turbines kicking around in here because there's the potential where we'll put buildings, we'll put more crops, we'll put other stuff down here. But do we want to put a wind turbine down? Could we have something like that? That might be okay, because we have got more space over here where we can build stuff. We could build a complex coming off this building. And then we could run the cable down and through this corridor, which again is horrible, but it might do the trick. And then it just means there's a little bit more power coming in. We can set up a battery, and it means that then we're improving our power capacity while things are still good, while we're not stressed. And yeah, I've kind of made my decision. I've talked myself into it. So the power conduits, we'll extend these out and we'll run them down. Probably have to come through the main door and then up there. And that should be okay. That connects everything up quite nicely. Batteries need 50 steel and 2 components. We can start slapping some of those down as well. So we can put a bank of batteries in down here. And what batteries will do is, as we're generating surplus power, the batteries will charge. If for whatever reason we lose power, we've got the batteries as backup there as well. So I think that's quite a good way of going about it. Shiro, if you fuck up that wind turbine, I'll not be happy. That needs chopping down because it'll be in the way. Blocked, but yeah, there's a tree. I should have really looked at that. But there's a tree right in front of the right in front of the wind turbine. So get that shifted. There. And instantly you can see there's not much wind at all. There. So we'll have a little bit of cable coming in there, and then while that's going on, you can also stick a battery down. But yeah, you can imagine if we didn't have the fuel powered generator, or the fuel generator, we've got no wind coming in here, and it's an eclipse, so you'd be absolutely screwed for power. How was that? No, it's just some new tips popping up. Getting that battery in. So wind turbine will only generate 80 watts, but it is free once you've built it, whereas we're getting 1,000 watts out of that fuel generator. But still, I think that is worth doing it. We will need a few more, but I mean we could have a row of them coming in here. Build the wall out and make sure that there's still enough wind coming in to hit the wind turbines, turn them. Alright, and then we're getting there. Go on, Lumi. There you are. But we're getting there. We've got this little area coming up down here as well for the workshop. So, some cables. Tell you what, we'll just do all of this and then run a cable down here as well, and then that means that we've got. Actually, you know what? We'll also do that there. Make all of this wood, and then we can run the power cables down here quite nicely, and then start getting some stuff in for the workshop. Is the wind picking up? Yeah, generating 316 now. Actually, if we get a nice strong wind, that might actually generate quite a bit of power. You can see the lose some efficiency, so it's generating this amount, but then it's in the connected rate and how much actually comes in. It's down underneath here as well. So we've got a battery. The battery's stored, yeah, not very much. Very, very slowly charging. But we've still got a fair bit of fuel in there. We've got a nice stockpile of wood that we've built up, which is canny. Heel root, nearly half grown. Corn, still grown. You can see the difference in the crops. We've managed to get nearly 2, nearly 3 rice crops from 1 in corn. Of course, everything's slowed down because we've got the eclipse on. So if we hover over it, it says it needs light level of 50 plus. Nothing's really grown at the moment while the eclipse is going on, which is a bit of a pain, but we're doing okay for food. Right, getting these walls knocked down. So before I forget where that middle bit should be. No, definitely don't put one there. That would be ludicrous. Put them in like that. It's not right, is it? There. Hang on, is that right? Then 2. Yeah, it is, but we want to take that out as well. You know what? Well, why not? We'll take that out. Might as well actually have wooden rooms. That would be quite nice. While we've got the wood, while not much else is going on. Oh, look at it go! It's actually generating more than the fuel generator now that there's a bit of wind coming in. That's nice. See the little yellow bar on the battery there is starting to fill up. Can hold up to 1,000. It's nearly got 100 in. Useful, and it just means if for whatever reason we don't put any fuel in the fuel generator, or we forget to, or there's other stuff going on, we have got battery power, we've got the wind power. Mental break, fire starting spree. Shiro, what a prick. Look at you. Right, Havoc, put his fire out. Are you done? No. Stop starting fires. You know, see, this is the thing. With Shiro now, he's going to do that for a while, and we're going to have to keep an eye on him, and it's going to be a right pain in the arse. What we could just do is just shoot him, but then everybody else will be upset, and it'll probably make somebody else break. I sip with me coffee. Makes things better. Right, Lumi's going to take care of that. Because the fire's in the home zone, people will naturally look to take care of it. See, this is the problem with pyromaniacs. This is why I never like having them. But this guy, he comes along, he invites himself into a colony. Oh, I'm one of you now. And now he's just piss-arsing about, just burning stuff. He came here, we didn't invite him. He's just put himself upon me. He's made us, I had to build him a bed. Now he's complaining because he's all greedy and what have you, because he wants a fancy room. Priceless artworks, and if he doesn't get it, he just burns the place. He's came and he's extorting me, is what he's doing. What a cock. Right, get them in. That in. Right, I think he's chilled these little carrots there. If he keeps doing that though, he's going to get himself into some bother. Right, this video's been going on for a little while, but we'll give it a few more minutes. See how things is going. Get into the daytime at least. If we can get these walls finished off, and we can get the last little bit of mining done, I think that'll be pretty good. Not a huge amount's really happened in this episode, apart from that little fire starting spree by Shiro, prick. But you know, it's all baby steps. That's what we're doing, baby steps. Oh yeah, just go and have some food. Can you remember what you did yesterday? Are you thinking about what you did yesterday? Sitting at the table. I bet your pals were Schroeder. The two of yous like burning stuff. Good. No, Schroeder. I thought that was Shiro. Food poisoning. If you're cooking meals, you'll have the door open. That's alright. So we're into spring now. I didn't notice, but second day of spring. I think seasons last, I think it's 9 days apiece. So they're very quick. Yeah, getting those last little bits of building and mining doing. Havoc hauling out some of the last bits of stone. Of course, we've made a load more. We'll get rid of those. Now, you've built that one. Can you still reach that one? Kind of important that you can. I don't think you can. A little bit of a bug. I think because there's stuff there, it means that we wouldn't be able to get that steel out of the way to build the blueprint. Which is a bit annoying. But you just got to be a bit more considered about how we build stuff. Yeah, get those last little couple of bits done there. And then once they're built, we will want stone cutting. I think is going to be quite important because we want to make decent outer walls. I mean, we could use wood for the walls, but you know, if we can get, we've got a lot of this all piled up here. I think we can use a lot of this. If we can cut it down, we could start building like a decent stone wall. We might have to do it in wood just so we've got something up. But there's nothing to stop us starting. Stonecutter's table. Actually, before that, priorities Gonzo. We want a research bench. And I suppose we can put a stonecutter's table in there as well. I mean, longer term, I mean things like, you know, tailoring benches we could put down in here. We could put a sculptor's table down. You know, I think longer term, probably something like if we want to get a furnace where we can burn stuff we don't need. So, you know, if we get raided, like we did with Peg Leg Pete, we've got his pants. They're terrible, they're awful quality, and they're absolutely wrecked. No, I won't buy a corpse. Nobody wants to wear those pants. But if somebody loses their pants, you might not have an option, you know? And if that's the case, yeah, we might have to wear them. Longer term though, if we end up with a stockpile of fairly decent clothes, we get raided, we kill the raiders, we'll probably want to get rid of the stuff. We might want to burn their bodies instead of having to bury them. At the minute, we've only got one grave. If we're getting attacked every few days by half a dozen people, we're going to fill a graveyard up fairly quickly. And if that's the case, we want to get rid of those bodies, and the best way to do it is just to burn them. Some of the bodies might have good stuff on. More often than not, they're carrying pretty crappy equipment. Shiro, he's getting onto my shit list, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Just wasting gear. Lumi's tidying. The tidying has started. That's pretty good. The floor in here, we could do something like sterile tiles, but that requires steel and silver, and silver's mainly the main currency that you'd use for trading. So I think it makes sense, because obviously sterile floors mean that this is going to be a better room for medical procedures, for wounded people to be in. But yeah, it's quite an investment. So at the minute, we're probably just going to deck everything out with wood. Actually, there's a point. We are going to end this episode just very shortly, but before I do, people's bedrooms, get some wood in. Corridors, get some wood in. Get some wood in. Probably shouldn't have built that before I put the wood in, because I'm going to know that they'll not be able to reach here and there'll be stone underneath. I don't think it'll cause a major problem for gameplay, but get some stone in. I'll get some wood floor in there as well. With that, because I'll forget at the start of next episode, if we haven't already. Load of orders to chop stuff down. Good old Lumi, giving everything a bit of a tidy. Right, okay, we're going to end it there. Guys, I've recorded half a dozen episodes off the bat there. I'm going to stop here for the time being, because I will be heading across to Ewok shortly, so we can do a bit more recording, so we can start getting 2017's episodes of Geordie's Space Programme together. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, of course, you can leave it a like, you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can find one on Facebook, and you can find one on Twitter as well. Okay, thanks very much for watching, guys, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.